and welcome. This is another episode of my daily trade reviews, as well as the best setups of the day on the SPY. And before I start to go over my own trades, I want to highlight today as a very special day in the sense that this is one of those days where, in particular, the beauty of what we do with Eric with regards to the structures that he talks about in the algos and how the market is, and in his understanding of the market and from a technical standpoint, I think this is one of those days where our style of trading really shines. I think a lot of other traders today, are probably like, oh man, cursing the market makers or saying all these weird things that I don't know about, like sell side ICT liquidity sweeps or whatever it is. I think or like, oh, this is just like burning premiums and stuff like that, and there's all this just frustrations about the chop and the lack of clarity and all of these things, when in reality I think what Eric does so beautifully and what these structures do is it provides guidelines for the containment and the conceptualization of price. I mean, who else would just tell you that the whole day can literally just chop in a massive flag, a massive bear flag, right, from here to here, and forming that head and shoulders pattern and topping out perfectly at the fib golden pocket, and just like Eric prepared for us in the other day, where we had those tapering yellow algos forming that head and shoulder, and then we get that massive head and shoulder. I mean, if you tell people that the whole day was just forming a head and shoulders pattern to build liquidity, they'd laugh at you, right? But I mean, that's the beauty of what we do here. It is really special, and it's a way to actually conceptualize and understand what is going on. Like, what if you're not familiar with these concepts and you look at this chart, you're like, what the heck is this? Like, oh, you must think, oh, some news came, right? Like, well, damn it, I missed the news that there was something going on. When it's like, no, there was structure here, there was algos at play, there's some sort of clear, objective, technical way to analyze this in order for you to better understand it, and then to exploit those imbalances, to take advantage of it. So yeah, I just wanted to start with that. I don't know. I just thought this today was a very interesting, neat day. So anyways, let's get started on the first trade of the day, where I took a break even here. And this is one of those trades where I'm like, if I maybe allowed the trade to go into a little bit more drawdown, I would have been okay, and I would have caught this big candle here. But at the same time, it doesn't align with how my risk management works. I was already up, I believe, 1R, or a little less than 1R on the trade, and we broke out of this stronger white buying algo and back in to this white selling algo. I mean, it's very difficult to see, but there's a wick there where it drops down, I think about like 15, 20 cents. So it was enough for me to be like, okay, I'll take the break even. I saw this tapered channel here forming outside of this, much stronger selling channel, and I just saw this breakout forming high volume, lower volume retrace forming, and I waited for that microstructure. I mean, you can see the microstructure. I'm on the 2-minute here, and this is right here, right? That micro right shoulder formed, and I bought on the continuation above. And this was also the previous day's rally retracement forming this bottom here at this golden pocket. So this was a key area for me. And you'll notice that we double bottomed off of this golden pocket, and I'll explain that later on in the day. So the next trade, and this was something that I had originally wanted the right shoulder to form out here on the break, but it is what it is, right? It's not the end of the world. Because I saw this microstructure form, and I was like, that's not terrible. That's a decent way for me to be like, oh, I like this right shoulder here. I can have a very tight stop just below this green candle, and that's that. There's not much else to go on about that. I mean, I think it was fine. And with regards to this Thursday, I mean, the previous day I had lacked patience, I had lacked discipline. I was just suffering the whole day. It was an awful day. I was very impulsive, and on my first, my third, and my final setups, I was very patient. I was very disciplined. I was focused. I only waited for the best confirmations, and those best confirmations are when, for me, we break those levels, we come back and there needs to be a significant retrace. I mean, sorry, not a significant retrace. There needs to be let me move this back a bit. There needs to be a significant break on high volume and like a proper retrace, forming some sort of microstructure that we get here, right? I mean, these are truly the best setups with the most confirmation, the tightest risk, and that's sort of the trade I want to be. I want to be very picky. In real life, I'm not a picky person. I'm very like I'm just okay with a lot of things. Like I'm not. I'll eat food that's old or cold, or I'll try anything. I'm very open-minded, and I need to. And I'm a lot of things. I love taking risks. I love doing things that I'm just like, oh sure, very nonchalant, and you can't be like that with trading. That personality does not work in trading. You have to be picky. You have to be very discernful, and you have to be very intelligent. And another thing that I loved about today is that when you look at this chart and you try to understand what is going on, you are, and Eric said this so beautifully, and it's about piecing together the intentions of the bulls and the bears. What are the intentions of the bulls and the bears? Well, this could be a bull flag controlled selling channel forming this double bottom here, which is at the previous day's golden pocket at the yellow buying channel that was holding us. So you could say, oh, the bulls are trying to build a bull flag and rally us out. But then what are the intentions of the bears? Well, this is the pole of the bear move and then the flag forming. Well, the bears are trying to build this head and shoulder with this head and shoulder here, right? With the tapering that I mentioned earlier, with the tapering yellow channel on the 30-minute chart, and to break us out. And it's like you have a way of understanding, of actually conceptualizing what's going on. Like what are the buyers and sellers trying to do? And that's the key. That's all Eric is trying to do constantly. He's trying to figure out what is going on in their heads, right? So anyways, the other trade right here. So as I was saying, I was very patient for the whole day, and except for this trade. This was the trade where the FOMO, the impatience, the rushing, the forcing got to me. Now you'll see I have this white line charted here. And I mean, look how many failed breakouts. Failed breakout, failed breakout, failed breakout, failed breakout. All these wicks, sucking up breakout sellers, sucking up breakout sellers, faking all of us out, right? And we start forming this cup here. But I was like, oh no. Like, head and shoulder, VWAP rejection, and I'm just going to take out this breakout here because this doesn't mean anything, this doesn't mean anything, this doesn't mean anything. I'm going to be the lucky guy who gets in here and makes money. And this is one of those trades where it's like, if I would have waited for this right here, where we see a high volume break and a real retrace forming that microstructure, I would have never lost because there would have been no clear entry. There was no clarity. And this looks more like a cup than anything else. And because you have this massively, and we break out of this massive chop, this massive liquidity zone here, it's like, and we come back in to this zone. Why do you want to be entering a trade there? It looks terrible. It looks like trash. Like it hurts my eyes just to look at. Like why do you want to be around this, associated with this area here? I mean, it's untradeable. So we come back in, and I'm like, oh yeah, let me short, and I emotions are signals. These feelings are signals, and I am experienced enough and trained enough, at least in this context, to know that like when I took this trade, I didn't feel it on any of the trades of the day, but when I took this trade, I was like, oh my god, I just messed up. Like I did not follow my plan. I did not wait for the retracement. I had FOMO before I entered the trade. I did not think about what was going on before the trade. I just wanted the breakout. I saw the fast red candles moving in. I mark ordered it in, and that was that. And that's when you know, like, dude, get out. Like this is, you can train yourself to, rather than be like, you shouldn't be making that mistake in the first place, but it's one step at a time, and you can train yourself to be like, well, I want to take this opportunity to, rather than my action from these emotions to be like, oh, I'm going to hold this into oblivion, blah, blah, blah. No, just cut it. Just wipe it out. Like it doesn't need to be this big thing that turns into a big loss. You can take a 4 or 5 tick loss, a 7 tick loss. It doesn't need to go break above VWAP, trigger my stop, and then I'm like, oh my god, right? And it's like, I don't know, it's one of those things really where you you take those. I mean, I'm sure you've experienced it. There's certain trades you take where you're like, I did not follow my plan. This was a mindless trade. So sure, I failed to be disciplined in waiting for the right shoulder to form, just like yesterday. And instead, I chased the breakout, even though the breakout of that white buying algo had been failing the whole day. So this will improve, right? This will not remain an issue. I'm getting better at that. Now, this was a great setup. I can't complain with this. After this, I take a long break. I mean, you'll notice I have some PTSD from trading afternoon sessions. That's when I would do the worst. So you'll notice now I changed my approach to the market. I really only trade the mornings. After 9, I leave. I don't want to sit through the lunchtime chop. I don't want to. I mean, just the sure, there might be a good move, but the probabilities are not there that there's going to be epic moves, especially with how the market's been moving lately. So for me, it's like I'm just going to take a break and I'll be back in like an hour. I feel like that's much better. Because they're always, I mean, quite often you'll see a nice move at 1 o'clock. So anyways, so this is when I kind of changed my approach a bit. And I'm more relaxed, I'm more at ease, I'm looking at the higher time frames, and I see, okay, we're at this golden pocket level, we're at that yellow buying algo on the 30-minute chart. This could potentially be a strong double bottom. See this strong wicks here supporting this level? And also engulfing candle, supporting this area. This is a potential double bottom bull flag, right, of the previous day's rally. So that's what I'm looking at here, and I'm trying to find microstructures on the 1-minute chart to support that thesis. So I see the head, strong volume supported, shoulder, shoulder, and I see this candle, this hammer doji, defending that white algorithm. See how the wick defends it? Wick defends it. So I buy it right above, holding the white channel, long, fib golden pocket, double bottom, bull flag, massive buying volume on this candle supporting us. So this is, yes, the candle is red, yes, the volume is red, but there's more aggressive market buying orders on here than there are market selling orders. Hence the size of how much the bulls were able to trap the sellers and take us right above that algo. And I got into some decent profit, and with how the market was moving, with how choppy this was, I was like, I'm not messing around. If the market is kind enough to give me some profits, which I think I was probably 15, 16 ticks. So I'm happy with that, and I'm out. I'm out after that. I'm not sitting around. So yeah. So that was my trades. That were 1 win, 1 loss, and 1 break even. So step in the right direction of the hopefully many thousands more. So let's go over the best setups. Just a quick check here. Yeah, everything's good. Anyways, the best setups for the day. First off, as I noted here, we were in this intraday selling channel, and the tapering came into this white, forming this cup here, and we have this red controlled selling channel, which comes up later, and you could enter on this break here. I mean, I don't think this is a bad trade. This was basically the trade I took. However, the only difference was that I stopped myself out on these wicks. However, certain people will have different risk tolerance, different position sizes, and different approaches. And I think that buying here with this controlled selling and the break of this algo with a close above on strong volume, it gives you some good context to take a trade there. I don't think it's a terrible setup whatsoever. Now, more clearly, as this day goes on, we start to see, okay, there's some sort of channel here forming. And that's what Eric noted for us, was that there was this major controlled buying channel. Well, we didn't know if it was controlled, but we saw that there was these tapering gradients of the strength of the channel coming up, right? It went from here, this blue, to this yellow, to breaking, and then this yellow, and then this major white channel, which was his magenta on the chart. And another trade setup, which I thought was interesting, was this cup comes here, forms the handle within this yellow buying channel, and you can take that break above to high of day. And it's a good setup, but the reality is today there was a lot of choppiness, a lot of lack of continuation, a lot of difficulty to be entering trades, except for this move. And this was quite obviously the trade of the day. There's no question about it. Sorry. And then this is where things get interesting, and this is where I think, oh man, because I was watching the setup and I was watching the same red controlled algorithm selling, and I didn't want to be betting on a break below it because this had been breaking us above, and we were still in this major channel. So, but I also saw the potential, as I noted here, for this bear flag rejecting at the golden pocket, forming the head. And I also saw, well, there's this left shoulder liquidity here that's formed, right? So maybe we get a head followed by that shoulder. And there were a couple other really interesting things that I had charted out but didn't execute on. So this level that I'm going to put right here, this is Eric's yellow level on the chart. And you'll notice that the left shoulder formed resistance at that yellow level. So first off, I didn't want to take the break here. However, of this red channel. However, we break below this resistance level. We break below the support level, which is Eric's yellow level, and then we start forming a support. You see those rejection wicks. I mean, rejection. It comes up, the buyers are here, and it rejects again, and it comes back down. And those are sellers, obviously, defending this right shoulder, defending this level now as resistance. And then we break, and that's where Eric charts in his video, right? We reject below this orange, this red level. And then when I saw that, I was like, okay, well, that's that. Call it a day. Because I was not expecting this, and that's just how trading is sometimes. I was like, oh, okay, it's over, and it becomes very clear when you look at the volume and you see this high volume starting to come in on these candles, high volume, and then we break through this white controlled buying algo for the first time, this channel here, and then we retest it on much lower volume. And if you look on the 1 minute, I don't like looking at the 1 minute anymore, but you'll see that we retested in such a way where there's this big, there's this big wick rejection of that area where there's about 5 minutes here, and this is why I didn't want to enter, is because, and look, the structures present themselves much clearer on the 1 minute. However, what I find difficult is that there's all this clarity, but there's a lot of time false signals. So you have this very beautiful right shoulder here forming. However, you're still within this controlled selling, and then you break and you form this liquidity here. But for me, I was just thinking, all right, well, we're back in this chop zone, in this range. It's a choppy day. Bears made money, bulls made money. It's probably just going to be a range day. I don't want to mess around. And I'm sure you all know you get a lot of these breaks here that really don't lead to much. It just leads to either a fake out or more liquidity building, more chop. So I was like, I'm done. I don't want to be messing around. I'm okay. And look, if you want to take, I think there's beautiful entries here. I mean, obviously I'm speaking in hindsight, but look, unable to close below, but then we start consolidating on it, and then we break below high volume. This is all low volume trading, and then we break right through that level. We slice through it, massive volume. We retest that previous area, checking for buyers, checking this previous buying algo, this channel, and reject hard. And the moment that candle goes from green to red, breaking below VWAP, rejecting this major channel with that head and shoulder that formed, with this potential bear flag, with this break of the controlled selling channel, and with the break of the 30-minute algos and VWAP, I think this is a great setup. If you could enter here, it just depends how you want to manage risk. If you want to enter here, if you want to enter here, I think both of those are totally fine setups. So yeah, but by this point I was like, oh, okay, I don't want to be like messing around. I don't want to be like forcing for setups, because I already felt like this trade I took around here, where I back to the 2 minutes. Sorry, this trade I took around here. Yeah, no. Yeah, this trade I took around here was kind of forced, and I didn't want this to feel like that. What I wanted to see here in order for me to take this trade was something like this, and I wanted to see it on the 2 minute because I really wanted those structures to form. I wanted to see a proper break, and I wanted to see a big reach, not a big, but I want to see a proper a break on high volume, a lower volume retrace, and then forming that micro head and shoulder, or that micro head and shoulder here. But on the 2 minute, it never really showed up, and that's fine. That's what my strategy calls for, and that's how I want to operate more as a trader. I want to be more picky. I want the trades I take to be playing out on higher time frames. So there's more volume, there's more participation, there's more involvement, there's more liquidity. There's less kind of hyperactivity and signals and lack of clarity and like just movement all over the place for me to get faked out. And I'm okay with this. As long as I can work on this strategy, which I really feel like is going to help me on this time frame, then I can continue to execute on that and work on it to the best of my ability. So that concludes today's review. Yeah, not a great day, really. I mean, outside of this, I think this was very difficult for a lot of people. But yeah, that concludes this review. So thank you for watching.